PlayStation is going through one of the biggest shifts in its history. And as someone who's gone mostly digital myself, I still feel the weight of it. I still buy physical when it matters, when it's cheaper, when I want something I actually own, or when I want to revisit older games like Resident Evil 2 and 3. Those discs mean something. They're part of how a lot of us grew up with PlayStation. So when Sony starts pushing towards a digital first future, it hits hard. Physical kept Sony honest. It gave us choice. It gave us ownership. And now players are fighting back. Let's break down what's happening and what it means for us. Sony's recent messaging makes one thing clear. They're steering PlayStation towards a digital first future. They haven't outright said the PlayStation 6 will be digital only, but ending disc production in January 2028 basically tells us everything we need to know. And for players who care about physical media, that hits hard. Digital sales have been climbing for years, and physical has been shrinking every quarter. Sony points to convenience, faster updates, and easier access. And sure, those things matter, but physical games matter too. They gave us ownership, they gave us choice, they gave us a way to buy, trade, and preserve games without relying on servers or storefronts. A lot of players feel like this shift takes control away from them. Physical games weren't just discs, they were security. When you bought a game, you owned it. You could play it years later, lend it, sell it, or preserve it. But in a digital only future, access depends on servers, licenses, and whatever decision Sony makes down the line. We've already seen all the PlayStation storefronts shut down, and players know what that means. When digital stores disappear, access disappears with them. That's why the backlash is so strong. People don't want their libraries to be temporary. And players aren't just frustrated, they're organizing. Groups like Does It Play and Stop Killing Games had pushed for a week-long PlayStation blackout, urging PlayStation 5 owners to take their consoles offline to protest the end of physical discs. Some players have even cancelled their PlayStation Plus subscriptions, and the Don't Kill the Disc petition has pulled in hundreds of thousands of signatures. The message is simple. Players don't want their libraries locked behind DRM or server availability. Backlash has spilled into places Sony didn't expect. When Sony revealed a new record player, fans blasted their announcement. Thousands of replies called out the hypocrisy. Sony supports physical media for vinyl, but wants to kill physical game discs. That moment showed just how fed up players really are. Creators feel it too. Some developers have said the decline of physical media is sad, and they've talked openly about preservation, about making sure games still exist decades from now. Dan Houser has defended physical media for the same reason. Discs matter for culture, for history, for access. So now we're stuck in this tension. Sony is following the data, digital dominates, physical production is expensive, and the market is shifting. But players are worried about what we lose when physical disappears. Ownership changes, access changes, the culture around collecting and preserving games changes. And with disc production ending in 2028, the future of PlayStation is going to look very different for anyone who still values physical games. PlayStation's digital-only future isn't just coming, it's already here. And even though I'm mostly digital myself, I get why players are upset. Physical media gave us options, it gave us ownership, and losing that feels like losing part of our gaming culture. Players are pushing back with blackouts, petitions, and boycotts. And if physical media matters to you, your voice matters too. So here's what I want you to think about. What does ownership mean to you when physical games disappear? And how much are you willing to fight to keep it alive? Thank you, and I hope you all have a great day.